hope y'all are ready. I hope you're sad. Wait, I have to pause Avatar. I hope you're sad because we're in for a long haul. This is gonna be, I fear it's gonna be long. I think this is also gonna go up before a different video. So I'm in a different house. I'm dog sitting right now. I don't know if he's in frame, but Louis is over here keeping me company. Everyone say hi to Louis. He's such a good boy. But, oh, he said thank you. We have quite a lot to cover today. I feel like it's been forever since I've been here, like to do a wrap up, especially, we can't forget it's a drunk wrap up, okay? I am 1 glass of wine in, like 1.5 at this point. So I'm not really feeling the loose or the goose yet. I did drop my first bottle of wine on my way into the house, so I had to go get refreshments. So we're back. I'm honestly like thinking about the amount that I have to discuss today. It's overwhelming. It's a lot because not only do I have like a few books, because I never did a December wrap up because the majority of those books were discussed in full reading vlogs. So I didn't feel like I really needed to reiterate exactly what I've already said to you. But I've read 3 books after Christmas that I do want to just like touch on. And I want to give the December stats because I never did those, obviously. And then obviously all of January, I have to go over that this is the January wrap up, which includes Kingdom of Ash. So let me just put it out there now. Kingdom of Ash will be at the very end. I will let you know. I will give you ample amount of time. I will even re-get your attention. If you're putting this on in your room and you're like cleaning your room, or maybe you went to the bathroom for a second and you didn't press pause, I will give you plenty of time to run back in, like Patrick with his pants around his ankles, to pause or skip if you do not want to hear Kingdom of Ash. So if you hear a spoiler, it's not on me. It is on you at this point because I'm gonna give you plenty of time. But also, another thing is I wanted to add in, of course I add it to the busiest month. Of course I do. But New Year, I want to start new traditions. I want to add in a movie wrap up because I love movies and I love to go see movies. Obviously, I've seen a lot this month, okay? I saw like maybe 12 or 13 and I'm going actually right after this, I'm going to go see another one. I just realized it's the 27th, so technically I could finish another book and I could go see movies, which I'm gonna go see a movie. So just be prepared for a little jump in from me later to add in the reviews on whatever else I do with the rest of the month. Tonight was the perfect night to film this, so it's getting done now. I've got my Riesling. My snack of the night is Trader Joe's Crunchy Curls. I've got the January books. I think I even brought the December books. I did. I even have a Celsius. I do. Believe it or not, I do. But it is 5:21. I have until like 7. I think the movie, nope, before that. I have like an hour and a half to do all this. So hopefully I can get it done. Hopefully. I need to get it done. But before we get started, I do want to thank today's sponsor, which is the one and only, the beautiful and perky Ana Luisa. Y'all know I love Ana Luisa. I've literally been wearing them since before I even started YouTube. I live and breathe Ana Luisa. You will see, obviously you know I'm a big jewelry girl. You will see me in jewelry in every single video, and 90% of it is Ana Luisa. And it's like every single time I get a new piece, I'm like, oh, it's my favorite. It's my new favorite. My newest piece is perfect in time for Valentine's Day, even though I don't have a significant other, but that's okay. Are my new earrings. They're just cute, adorable little everyday studs. They're little hearts. I'm not kidding, gasped when I opened it. They're just so subtle. They're so cute. I always need new studs. I just love a good new everyday stud. Okay, it's perfect. I can put them in my second piercings. I can put them in my third piercings. No one's gonna stop me. They're just the daintiest little gold. Go with all of my other earrings. It's like when I pick out earrings, I have to have them match my other earrings because obviously I have quite a lineup. So they have to go with all my other ones, and these are perfect. They're just adorable, literally scream Valentine's Day, and they're just so cute and girly. Like, we're just little girls. We're just trying to be little girls. And then my other piece that I got, which this one, okay. It's like, I know I say it a lot. But I can't help it. I think it's my new favorite. I really do. It's a ring. Let me take it off so I can kind of show you. It's a ring that looks like a watch band, okay? And it's like, it's jiggly like a watch band, so it fits perfectly. It's so unique. I've never had a piece like this before. Truly, it's so unique. But that's like what's amazing about Ana Luisa is you can find anything you want on that website. There are rings, there are bracelets, there are necklaces, there are earrings. It's amazing. You can find statement pieces. You can find the dainty, cute little, no. In the middle of my jewelry talk, he's gonna start barking. Anyways, you can find anything you want, basically, is what I was saying. So not only are they adorable, They are eco-friendly, okay? The packaging is adorable and recyclable, and I don't even get rid of the packaging because I use it as, I literally brought all my jewelry here because this is not my house. I brought all my jewelry in this. So it's perfect little carrier for your jewelry because it's pretty sturdy. It's not gonna like lose your jewelry. You also have a 2-year warranty, which is amazing. If anything were to happen or if they were to break, which is always a plus. But I literally, just to prove to you how much I do wear Ana Luisa, I have both of my thumb rings are Ana Luisa and both of my necklaces are Ana Luisa. So they're just perfect. You can literally find anything you want. And so many of my earrings are too. I don't even remember. I have so many of my ears right now, I cannot keep up. They have really good, like, simple necklaces that are perfect to stack. Now is the perfect time. Get a little Valentine's Day gift for yourself because men aren't gonna buy them for us. So make sure to visit the link in the description below. And thank you so much, Ana Luisa. You're the best. But now we can get started on the books, I guess. Ooh, I'm gonna get the December books out of the way because I'm not kidding. Every single one of those books was read in a reading vlog. Every single one. So we're gonna do the stats and I'm gonna quickly go over some of them. But first we're gonna chug. I am gonna need a refill pretty soon. Actually, let's do that. Pause, please. So before he gets back, let's try and get through as much as possible, but I will pour up first. I think this is like my 4th drunk wrap up, and I'm very excited. I didn't realize how much I missed them until I skipped December. I love doing the wrap ups, I've realized. Okay, December stats. We read 14 books, which sounds like an insane amount, but 8 of those books were novellas, Christmas novellas. So it's not actually that crazy, but 11 of them were Christmas books. 8, like I said, were novellas. 1 thriller and 2 romances. There was a total of 2,928 pages, which isn't bad. 7 of them were on my Kindle, 2 were audiobooks, and 5 physical. So I feel like I did pretty good with keeping the audiobooks to a minimum. The average rating, however, which this doesn't really shock me because a lot of them were the Christmas books. Okay, Louis. But the average rating was 3.3. So, not great. The winner was the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez, shocker. And then the loser was All by My Elf, which was just some boring, shitty Christmas novella. Okay. Oh, I forgot a book. That's upsetting. Whatever. I'm only doing the books that I read after Christmas because I'm not going to discuss a holiday book at all. So the last 3 books in December that I read were the Searching for a 5-Star video, which wasn't that long ago, so I'm sure I'm gonna keep it brief, I promise. But the first one was a writing retreat, which I left at home for some reason, which I gave a 4.25. As far as thrillers go, it was fun. I was engaged the whole time. It kind of followed these 2 girls that went to a writing retreat who have like history and like don't get along. It was they were best friends. They got into a huge fight because someone made a move and then they like detest each other now. So they end up both at this retreat and the girl leaving the retreat is psycho bonkers, like literally psycho bonkers, and is like gonna kill them all basically. So it's kind of just following through that story of them figuring out she's bonkers and all these secrets happening and someone disappearing and all of that. I was entertained, I guess. It wasn't like groundbreaking. I was thoroughly entertained the whole time. No complaints, but nothing groundbreaking. So that's why it's a 4.25. Then I read my first Julie Soto book, Not Another Love Song. Really, really pleasantly surprised. I have never read a book that kind of followed like musicians. So any of the like music jargon that was being said, I ate it up. Like I really like reading about things I have no idea like anything about them. I mentioned that in the video. If I don't know anything about it and they're talking as if I do, I'm enjoying it because I feel like I'm in on the crowd. Like I feel like I'm in on a secret. If that makes sense. So any of the music jargon really loved. But it followed these 2 people who were both in the orchestra. He's like a child prodigy and she's really, really good. Kind of also like a child prodigy, but she didn't have any training. She was taught by this one woman who kind of took her under her wing and like became a mother. Can I talk? Became a mother figure. I forgot to chug up at the first drink. Oops. First book, I mean. Anyway, so they end up kind of both as the lead in this orchestra, and then they have crazy chemistry, but he kind of comes off as a douchebag. There's more to him, that kind of stuff. Love the story. He kind of gives the same like energy and attitude as like the Zayden characters, you know, like he's just cocky and arrogant, but has a soft spot in his heart. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, he wants to come in. BRB. So really, really loved. It was so close to a 5-star. I kind of just wish the ending was like a little different. Even though I liked it, it just like felt a little rushed. So 4.5. Then my last book of the year, I ended on a 5-star. I was determined and I did it. 5-star read, the Happy Ever After playlist. Abby Jimenez, every single book is not a miss for me. Every single book. I don't know. Every single book I'm obsessed with. And this one, okay, I had a special place in my heart for this character in general, like to start off with because of her character and her story in the friend zone. I just had a special place for her. So going into her book, I was ready to be sad. I was ready to like emotionally to be emotionally drained, you know? But I wanted happiness for her. I wanted her to find this life. Okay, quick backstory. She meets this guy who's basically like a singer, and he is on the up and up of his career. So he's going on his first like real tours as like a real country singer. I think he's country. Honestly, don't remember. So she has to decide whether to like be with him and be happy for once, or like, you know, give up on their love that she feels really strongly about. So it's like go on tour and be kind of miserable on the tour because tour life isn't fun and it's like really hard to do, and like live in this van and it's just like be sick all the time, she's not adjusting well, that kind of thing, or like give up, or like go home and be without him for months and months and months. Like it literally was like over a year they weren't going to be together and they just started dating. It was just kind of like a when you know kind of thing. So she didn't want to give up, and just like watching their story happen just tugged at my heartstrings. It really did. And like you could feel the desperation of them wanting to make it work, and it was just so hard to make it work, and it was for the best to like try and give up on it, but it just, and I just wanted the best for her so badly. So, and I cried very hard at the end. I love her grand gestures. They're so good. So that was it for December. I'm not gonna go into the other ones at all, but I'm very excited to talk about 2025's January reading wrap up. And I can go into a little bit more detail, thank God. First book, for some reason, I don't know what drew me to it. I had a TBR this month, which I rarely have, and like going forward probably won't do that many more times. But I read a decent amount off my TBR. Like all of these books came from my TBR except Iron Flame. Spoiler. I didn't finish the TBR, but I did good in like keeping to my TBR. So, and then there were none by Agatha Christie. I was supposed to read this in probably 7th grade, I think it was. Like I even have notes in it from 7th grade, which are just characteristic traits that make zero sense, like whatsoever. It's the worst thing ever. And like we wrote, I don't know if this was me or Logan, but one of us wrote, oh wait, no, it's Logan because it says, no, it was me. You can see I wrote Kindle on this and then Watson, and Logan like wrote over my name on here. Rude as fuck. But anyways, I kind of just didn't really know what to expect going into it because it's Agatha Christie. She's very, very famous. I believe she's still alive and
So I just fact checked myself. Who told me that bitch was still alive? Hold on, just look. Just look when this bitch died. And I mean bitch in the most respectful way possible. Don't worry, but just look. She didn't even make it to the 2000s. Ew, that was so embarrassing. That's so embarrassing for me.
But I wanted to know kind of if my I don't write. If my reading style of mystery and thrillers, like I love mystery and thrillers, if it would correlate to Agatha Christie and like the icon that she is. So I went in very open-minded and I had a decent time. It was one of the easiest reads I've ever read in my entire life. It is like 270 pages of big font and little pages. So I feel like it would have been under 200 pages in a normal book format. I will say I just found myself not really caring because I knew, like, it's like I don't know if I knew it because the story is just so famous, or like I could, obviously, like, you know it's literally called And Then There Were None. So like, you know everyone's gonna die basically. So I just didn't find myself caring because I knew everyone was gonna die. Just like the couple of people I thought it was ended up dying. But then a part of me was like, well, I mean, odds are she's gonna bring about, or it was like a fake death or something. So I just didn't really find myself believing or caring. So I kind of just like ran through it. I gave it a 3.5, I think. Yeah, I gave it a 3.5. And obviously it's a different like type of writing than I'm used to. I just didn't really care. Hate to say it. So like, will I ever read another Agatha Christie book again? No. But I read one. And 1 is good enough for me. Next, this was my audiobook. I redid my Iron Flame reread. I was just obviously prepping for Onyx Storm. I don't know why people don't really like this one. Okay, also, no, multiple things to say. I loved Iron Flame. I gave it a 4.5. Fourth Wing was a 6-star read for me. Iron Flame was a 4.5. There were a couple parts in the middle, right when part 2 started, that I was kind of bored. I loved part 1. Everything with Varish, the torturing, the like interrogation, I ate it up. I really loved it. Everything with Dane, I thought it was very interesting and very like high stakes. Like I felt nervous the entire book, and that rarely happens. So like I was having a great time. I have realized I don't like, I'm happy books get hype in the book community. I think she deserves hype for these books. It was amazing. But when books get so hyped up, everyone in the fucking world is talking about them, so everyone's going to share their thoughts. I don't want to hear the negative thoughts because it seeps into my brain and then ruins the book for me. Like the entire time, I'll keep this one spoiler free. Don't worry. I should have said that first. This is spoiler free. I will not go into it. But the entire time, people were just saying like kind of how annoying our 2 main people were. And I didn't think that at all in the slightest when I first read this book. Like it never crossed my mind where I was annoyed with them. And then after hearing it nonstop in my brain, I was like, ugh, I guess they're kind of right. It is a little annoying. And I hate when that happens because it's like the outside perspective is changing my opinion on a book I love. That's what pisses me off. Like, obviously, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Everyone's not going to like the same book. I get that. But I am, and like, there's no way around that. Like, you can't avoid people's negative thoughts on books. I have negative thoughts on books all the time. I have one coming up that's going to be negative, and that book may be someone's favorite book in the whole world. So it's like, you can't avoid it. And I'm not like complaining about the book community. It's just a fact of life that I let people's opinions seep into my brain and like affect my opinion on the book and on the characters. I also think that's a heavy reason why I wasn't as like quick to go into Onyx Storm, because I just started today. It's been out for almost a week, and I think it's because all I've been hearing is the negative shit on Iron Flame. So now that's like the connotation I'm going. Did I use that correctly? It doesn't sound right. Is the negative shit that I'm like feeling towards our main characters is how I'm going into Onyx Storm. Is like feeling negatively, which I wasn't before like people's reactions and stuff. So that's the only part that's kind of annoying to read like these really big books. But other than that, I really, really loved Iron Flame a lot. Next was Kingdom of Ash, so she'll be pushed to the back. But then I read Summer Romance. I don't know why I read it right now. It was just it just happened to get picked for my TBR. There's like 7 total tabs in here. I really liked it, okay? Like really, really liked it. I wouldn't say it was like my favorite romance of all time. There were a couple people that said that this was like as good as some of Abby Jimenez's, and it's just life-changing and it's deeper than a regular romance, which I think it is deeper than a regular romance. But I'm sitting here right now looking at this story and I couldn't tell you all the details. If that says anything. It didn't, like, this is the kind of story where I'm probably not going to think about it ever again. But, I mean, I gave it a 4.5, right? Yeah, I gave it a 4.5. Nope, that's... I'm looking at I just got distracted because I'm looking at my notes of my books. And next to the book, I had the page count because I was adding them all together to give the total pages. Oh my god, I didn't do my January stats. Did I? What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm gonna do those. Anyways, back to this. I'm looking at the pages I wrote next to them. And next to Summer Romance, I have 984, which is Kingdom of Ash. And then next to Kingdom of Ash, I have 368. Is that this? No, because this only has 316. I don't know what the fuck I did. So if the pages are fucked up, it's not on me at all. It's on Goodreads. But anyways, okay, pause. We're gonna go do the January stats. I literally can't, this is my favorite part of the wrap-ups. I can't believe I forgot. Okay, January stats. I read 6 books, which sounds like an itty-bitty titty community amount, but I read more pages in this month than I did last month with the 14 books. So it was 2 fantasy, 1 mystery, 2 romance, and 1 YA romance, even though I don't really consider it YA. 1 was a reread, 1 was a DNF, my first DNF ever. So the amount of pages that I read is what I put. I didn't put the total pages into this. I put the amount of pages that I read. 1 was audiobook, 1 was a Kindle book, and 4 were physical. The pages, which let me remind you, my December pages with 14 books was 2,928. My pages with 6 books was 2,947. Plus, I've read 280 pages of Keeping 13, so you could add that in there. I just haven't finished yet. Plus, whatever I read of Onyx Storm. So like, I could get up to 3,500 in this month. I'm just not waiting until the 31st to make this video. My average rating, however, was 3.75, so like not great, but better than December, I mean. And then my winner, I hate to do it, because I feel like it should be Kingdom of Ash, but I'm gonna do Binding 13. Sorry. And then my loser is Call It What You Want. But let's go back, okay. My mouth is starting to taste like alcohol. But we are not gonna get as sick as we did during the Q&A. That was heinous. Starting to feel a little looser, a little goosier. Back to Summer Romance, if I can remember what it was about. So it follows the girl who is kind of going through a big divorce, like her husband just really sucked. And she also has kids. So it's a little bit older of a romance than I usually read. I don't typically go for the middle-aged mom romances, but it doesn't really scream middle-aged mom, you know? Like, it doesn't look like that. But she meets a boy who kind of gets her out of a funk, and turns out that boy is someone she knows. She just didn't realize because she hasn't seen him in like 10 plus years, which, like, I get you change and you look different, but I don't think you look that different, or you wouldn't recognize them, but whatever. So then it's just kind of like navigating him, helping her come out of this funk, and navigating the kids with the divorce. It's very fun. I think I cried. I'm not even kidding. I don't remember. So it makes me a little nervous to say that it's a 4.5 if I literally don't remember, but I was rooting for them. No, I definitely cried. I don't know, it's kind of giving I may reread it in the future because I've already forgotten a lot, so. But 4.5, I will say it's definitely worth the read, just maybe in the summer, you know, not in fucking dead of winter. Okay, let's refill before I talk about this heinous book. My goal is to finish this, but we'll see. Maybe during Kingdom of Ash. Okay, next I started Call It What You Want. I went into this knowing it was about kind of like a situationship. The front has a quote that says, "An important read for any woman who has ever thought I can be enough to change him." So I knew it was gonna hurt. I knew that. I don't mind a book that hurts. I really don't, okay? But I don't even know where to start. It's about this girl in her senior year of college, and she runs into this guy who's super hot on the bus. They like spark up a conversation and find out he lives above them. So they just like are instantly flirty. The vibes are there. They hang out at a party. You know, it just like kind of sparks from there a friendship. All of his roommates are cool. Her roommates are cool. They kind of just like hang out now. She's very into him, like very much into him. And he is seemingly very into her because it will go to his POV, and he is into her, but he has such a fucked up past. He can't do it. He's got divorced parents. He can't do it. I can't. I have no sympathy for these types of men in books who are really into women, but they just can't do a relationship because they don't believe in love. Grow up. Okay, not to speak on divorce situations because my parents are not divorced. I do not know anything about those situations or how much it fucks up with your head. Okay, so maybe it does really fuck up your head. I don't fucking know. All I do know is I have no sympathy for men, period. So I especially don't have sympathy for men who are like, woe is me, I don't believe in love. And it definitely does not give you a fucking reason to treat a girl like shit. I can tell you that for sure. I don't care if your parents are divorced. It does not give you a reason to treat a girl like shit. So he, knowing he does not want to date her, lets this thing go on. Lets this situationship, which is a bullshit term anyway, he lets this thing go on for way too long, and she is falling in love with him. Because he has charm, he's hot, he's funny, his roommates are fun. Her roommate starts dating one of his roommates. Like, very seriously and very quickly. So she's like, oh, it'll be us soon. No, it's not. It's not. And he fucking knows it's not because he refuses to date someone. And he's like, I'm no good for you. Shut up. shut up. It will like fast forward a little bit in the book to they've been kind of hanging out for a couple weeks now, or like she's been spending the night at his place for a little bit, and then he'll just kind of like not talk to her for a little bit, because then we'll go to his POV and he's like, no, I need to cut it off. I need to. But to her, it's just like, what the fuck's happening? Like, why isn't he talking to me anymore? You know, like it's giving very much high school. It's giving very much what I went through in high school, and it's not fun to read about. Like I wasn't having a good time reading this in the slightest. It was just giving Kindle at 16. Okay, and this girl's supposed to be in college, a little bit more mature than a 16-year-old. Then we would go to her POV of having been treated like shit. And then it's like, in comes him, who's like, I miss you. And she's like, oh, thank God. Like, girls, no. Because that was me. I was the, thank God, take me back, please. Instead of the, no, fuck you for ignoring me for a week. Like, I'm not at 25 going through that again. So I had to call it quits, and I read the last little bit. Oh no, wait, that's not even the worst part. Hold on. This gave me a literal trauma response at one part. It was her birthday, okay? Her birthday. It was like the amount of scenes that were word for word shit I've gone through. It was disgusting. It was her birthday, and she was feeling like not appreciated, you know. He had the idea to like bring her out on a date, but it was giving the vibe of, I don't want to be here. I'm gonna do it because it's your birthday kind of thing. And so like girls can pick up on that fucking vibe. We know when the vibes are wrong, okay? But it's her birthday. You would think she would feel loved and appreciated, but no, he's giving, I'm doing this because it's your birthday. Like, don't get it twisted. I don't actually give a fuck about you. So then she's talking about, there was a line where she was talking about the wine they were either ordering, or I think he like ordered wine at the table, and he ordered the wine that she doesn't like, but in her head she was like, it's fine, I'll just let him have it because I don't want him to be in a bad mood. Okay, heads up, girls, we're not doing that. We're not putting up with that. It made me sick to my stomach. Literally sick to my stomach. I almost threw up. Trauma response. We're not doing that. So that's when I called it quits. I was like, oh, no, we're done. Let me just look through, like, I underlined so much of the shit. There was a time where she brought a date, like, this was the last thing I underlined. She had brought a date after he ended things with her to some, like, a really long time later, 6 weeks later or something. She brought a date to a dance and ran into him. And she said, a bit of frustration quickly followed, though. I didn't want Ethan to think I'd moved on so easily or at all. I wanted him, not Reese. If only he knew that. He dumped you. He dumped you. And she's still like, oh, I don't want him to think I moved on. No. And like, okay, this was, I'll stop talking about this soon, I promise. He was breaking up with her, even though they weren't technically dating, they were just hanging out. He was breaking up with her in the car, might I add, quick getaway. And she was saying, we don't have to date. I told you I wasn't sure if I was ready for a serious relationship either. And she said, as I tried to lie, because she wants the relationship. She does. And she's lying to him saying, we don't have to date. I'm happy with how things are right now. I was nauseous. We are not acting like that anymore. I didn't know the book was going to be that gross. So I stopped. I read the last chapter and it doesn't end happy. So I was like, okay, there goes my answer. I'm not reading the rest of the book. Now we can move on. We can move on to Binding 13, which was a 5-star read. I've been putting this book off for many moons. I've had this book for a year. I got it last Christmas, and I have been putting this book off because it is over 600 pages. It is Bible page thinness, like the thinness of these pages, Bible pages. I'm not even a godly girl. Bible pages. The font is so small. It did help that it was on Kindle Unlimited. I will say that. And the second I got into it, I was like maybe 3 chapters in. I was like, yup, we're binging this book. We're reading the whole book. I love Johnny. Oh my God, I love Johnny. I loved this book so much that I wasn't even annoyed by her calling Shannon tiny every other sentence. I wasn't annoyed. I know a lot of people are annoyed by that. Not me. Wasn't annoyed. I said, say it. Say it with your chest how small she is. I don't care. But like, it makes the like small comments get to me when it's just a normal person. It's just a normal girl and she's so small. But like, she made a point to say Shannon like didn't develop correctly and hadn't hit puberty like at the same time as normal girls. So like, it's fine if you remind me that she's small because I feel like she is literally smaller than she's supposed to be. Now, I need this into a movie. I need to watch them. I do. God, the chemistry is so good. Johnny is just so good. I will say the only thing, luckily it didn't stray from my 5-star my 5-star rating. It almost took it out. It almost made it a 4.75. But the shit Bella pulled, I was like, Johnny, if you don't punch her in the fucking face, like she was downright disrespectful. Why even communicate with her? Say, Bella, leave me the fuck alone, you dirty slut, and walk away. Like, why not walk away? He had so many options to just walk away. She's sure as hell not gonna like bully me in my relationship with Shannon. Like, that was just ridiculous. And it went on a little too long. It's still going and keeping 13. Like, she's still saying shit. And I'm like, Bella, shut the fuck up. Someone put her in her place. But anyways, I love that it's a little more mature than like a regular YA romance. I'm fine with like the lack of sex or like smut. Like, it doesn't bother me, which is like, everyone calm down. Yes, I like smut in books. Do you know me? The tension is so thick that it's making up for it, okay? And the lack of, oh my God, I just bent it. The lack of smut feels correct because they feel young. Like, she feels really young, and if there had been smut, I would have been a little icked out. But like the way that it's going with them is perfect. Like the progression in their relationship is like moving at the perfect pace. And Johnny being a perfect gentleman, yes. Everything with her family makes me queasy and uneasy. I'm trying to remember like what happens in Strictly Binding 13 versus Keeping 13, because now I'm in Keeping. Like, I understand why people say this is their favorite series or the series is life-changing. Like, I get it. I'm obsessed with it. And it has one of the qualities that makes it a 5-star read is I love the side characters. Like, I love Gibbsy. I love Claire. I love her brother Joey. I'm pretty sure those are who the other books are about, but I'm not positive. I love it. I love everything about it. Lizzie's kind of up for debate. I'm like, unsure if I'm Lizzie. I feel like I'm Lizzie, and that's why I hate her so much. But I'm trying not to. I'm like, girl, just like take a breath. Why are you mean to every single person you talk to? But then I'm like, fuck, was that me? Am I Lizzie? And she like thinks it's cute because it's not. Having an amazing time, and thank you to everyone who threatened my life to read this because it is so good. And it's on Kindle Unlimited, which is amazing. I love that. That is it other than Kingdom of Ash, but like I said, I'm gonna save this for last. So we're going to my movie review, my January movie wrap up. I'm so excited about this. I have been itching to talk about the movies I've seen. It has become my new personality trait. I go to the movies. These are all except one, which I'll explain later. These are all movies that I saw at the movie theater. I didn't realize he was still downstairs. Louis scared me. If you have the opportunity to purchase an unlimited movie account with your like local theater, you need to do it because it's worth it. I'm at the movies every other fucking day, it feels like. But let's talk about movies. Let me chug and we'll talk about movies. I saw 11 movies so far. I'll see another tonight. 2 of them were the same movie, rewatches, and then one of them I saw at home. I'm not going to talk about movies that I see at home. I'm only going to talk about movies that I go see in the theater. But the only reason I did this one was because I went to go see it at the movie theater, but the movie theater was closed because of like the ice and snowstorm that we had. It wasn't anything serious, but it was on Peacock, so I watched it at home. But anyways, first I saw Mufasa, my brother. I really liked it. Cried at the first scene. I went into it being like, well, yeah, fuck Mufasa. If he stole Scar's throne, fuck Mufasa. If you don't know, it tells the story of like Scar and Mufasa growing up, because I didn't know that Scar saved Mufasa, which I guess like no one knew that because the movie just came out, but I didn't know that. And I was like, oh my God, literally tea. Scar saved Mufasa's life and Mufasa stole his crown. But no, Scar was a little bitch for a decent amount, but it like follows Mufasa and his family go like the dam breaks, so like it whooshes him away from his family, which I was sobbing. I was a wreck, okay? I was so upset. And Scar like saves him really far down the stream from like drowning because he can't fucking swim. He's a baby cub, and he like brings him to his family, but the dad, the leader of like Scar's clan, is like, we don't take outcasts. Bye, kill him. And so Scar's mom kind of like takes care of Mufasa and like takes Mufasa under her wing, her paw, if you will. Then Scar starts to get a little jealous and is like, why do you like Mufasa more than me? Because Scar's a little bitch, basically. But then like things happen where there's like this enemy lion clan who comes after them. So it sends Scar and Mufasa on their own to like not make sure they don't die. And then we meet a female lion, which is where problems arise in the little trio. It's just very fun to see the backstory. I will say that. The songs, I feel like could have been a little better. Hate to say it, could have been a little better. The name, okay, I feel like this was lazy writing by whoever came up with it. The name Scar was lazy as fuck. I was expecting it to come out and like the way he got the name, because his name is Taka. So I was expecting some like pretty cool scene of how we started calling him Scar. All it was Scar goes, because he had just gotten cut on his eye and he goes, you can call me Scar. And I was just like, ew. It was icky. I was like, okay. Anyways, it was good. 3 out of 5. 3.5 out of 5. Next, I saw Wicked for the 3rd time. I can't help it. I love Wicked. It was a 5 stars. I love it more than life itself. The amount of scenes I cried at from the opening scene, the very first time I saw it, opening scene, crying. The Ozdust Ballroom, sobbing like a literal baby. Sobbing. Multiple scenes in between, and then obviously Defying Gravity, sobbing like a baby, okay? Everything. I have not made it through Defying Gravity without sobbing. So, and then I saw the mystery movie, which is what I'm going to go do tonight, which ended up being Better Man, the movie about this, I don't remember what his name's supposed to be, Philip something. This famous UK like singer and performer, and he was like the producer, so he portrayed himself as a monkey, which I didn't realize like what it was. The movie ended up being pretty good. I gave it a 3.5, so it ended up being good. It's just like him being portrayed as a monkey and the only monkey in the movie, that's what threw people off, I know. Like a lot of people left during the movie, like as soon as his monkey face came on the screen, people were like, no, I'm out. But if you look past the monkey, it was fine. I really enjoyed it. I even cried. And like all of the singing and dancing musical numbers in the movie, amazing. It was really good. But again, just like a weird, I mean, like obviously I get what he was doing. He was trying to like portray how he was treated in the music industry as like being the monkey, but whatever. Then I saw Baby Girl. Obviously the story with Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson, is that his last name? Harris Dickinson, where she's like this big bad CEO and an intern comes in. Cue Harris Dickinson. She apparently has, like the whole movie is advertised as she's the CEO who has weird kinks and the intern does these weird kinks for her. So I'm thinking, as most of the world was, that she's just into this dark shit. She wants to maybe like be maybe she wants to be like the whole consensual non-consent fantasy. Like there's so many ways they could have taken this, but it was more of like her acting like a cat. I don't know. It was like the whole plot was her husband, the dad from Spy Kids, sexy as hell, might I add. The whole idea was he can't make her finish and never has in the 18 years they've been married. That's crazy. I feel like she would have lost her patience long before now. But anyways, this intern comes in who, very fine, and kind of makes a suggestive pass at her. And she's like taken aback. She's like, but then he's like, and then she's like, So then they kind of like awkwardly, the awkward is what I loved. That it wasn't just like this perfect he took over kind of feeling. Like it was comical how awkward it was at first. And I thought that was funny. But I don't think, like I hate to say it, I don't think Nicole Kidman was the person for this movie. I love her as an actress, yes. I don't love her as like the CEO submissive in bed type of actress. I don't know. It just didn't really work as much for me from her. But he worked. He worked that screen. Yes, he did. I feel like the comedic parts were perfect. I don't know if they were like intentional or not, but I feel like they were done well. And then if they had just not fixed because that's rude. If they had just made the kinks into stuff that I was into as opposed to drinking milk out of a bowl, I would have been more into it, you know? Like, I was ready for different kinks. That's what I was excited for, was like a little bit darker kinks instead of weirder kinks. But still, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I also was not expecting to watch Nicole Kidman finish that many times. Like, start to finish that many times. It was a lot. Then I saw Nosferatu. I gave it a 1. I think I'm the problem. I didn't really get it, and I was really bored. It's just like, you know, obviously it's a vampire movie, and I don't know. Like, there's not a whole lot to say other than the fact that I was really bored. The main guy goes to sell Nosferatu literal real estate. He's literally being realtor for Nosferatu, but he's like haunting his wife. I was like also slightly confused. So I know I'm the problem. I just didn't appreciate the movie for what it was, and I'm sure if I was more intelligent maybe, or like more in touch with the cinema world, I would get it more, but it just wasn't for me at all. I also wanted him to be hotter. He was really gross looking, and like he had a mustache. Why did he have a mustache? I don't know, but whatever. Then I saw Moana 2. It was okay. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Like, nothing that exciting. I was also like kind of bored, but I cried. I did cry. Anytime the sister was on the screen, I cried. Like the little sister, big sister moments, cried. But other than that, okay for a Disney sequel. Nothing crazy, honestly. Then I saw Wicked for a 4th time. Cried. Moving on. I then saw Wolfman, which I went in kind of excited, you know, a fun werewolf story. I was extremely let down with how like cliche it was as like a horror movie. Like the decisions she made were the type of decisions where you were like, why would you do that? There was a point in the she where she goes around where they're being hunted, okay, and her daughter's with her, and she gets out of her truck to go around to the engine to try and start the car. She gets it, comes back into her car and leaves the door open. I'm just like, why would you do that? Like, it was just stupid shit like that pissed me off. Or like at one point her husband opens the door and of course gets attacked. I'm like, why would you do that? It was just, stupid shit like that pisses me off. I'm like, why are we going back to the cliche bad choices in a horror movie? I gave it a 2 out of 5. I didn't know it made me that bad. The story itself was cool because it started with like this man and his son hunting, and we see the original Wolfman come out, like we see him like dart between the woods where the sun is. So we're like, oh shit, is the son about to die? And then like the dad comes in, saves the son, and like it's this scary moment where like, you know, there's a werewolf in the woods. And then it jumps ahead 30 years. So the son is now a dad to this daughter and married, and his dad has died. Like he gets a letter that's like, we've declared your dad is dead. And so we're like, what does that mean? Like, why are they being weird? So he has to go to the cabin where that wolf. Okay, my alarm went off, reminding me about the movie. Anyways, he has to go to the cabin where the original Wolfman was to clear it out because that's his dad's cabin. So he and his wife and the kid go, and they basically they run into this thing in the middle of the road that looks like a human and wreck their van. So the dad realizes, he's like, oh my god, we're in danger, we need to get going. So they like are rushing through the woods, they find his dad's cabin, get inside, and they're clearly being hunted by this thing, and it's obviously the Wolfman. Like in the scuffle, he got scratched, so the entire movie is him progressively getting sicker and obviously turning into whatever is hunting them. So he's becoming a wolf, and the wife is like realizing what's happening and how much like of a danger they're in, but then will like leave the daughter up there with him. It's just like, that would never happen. That's what pissed me off. I was like, you would never leave your fucking preteen daughter with a man that's growing canines, okay, and gnawing his arm off. It was just stupid. That being said, the very last bit at the end, the plot twist was crazy. It wasn't really like a twist, it was like a plot reveal. That was crazy, and I gasped. Like, I'm sure if I thought hard enough on it, I probably should have figured that out, but it was crazy. And then I just saw One of Them Days with Keke Palmer and SZA. I was so excited. My least favorite thing about these is how often I have to fucking burp. I was so excited because I love Keke Palmer and I think SZA is funny already. So I thought this movie was going to be hilarious. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think it had its moments, but then it was just like, the plot was they needed their rent money or they were going to get kicked out. So it was just them trying to find this $1,500 the whole movie. And then it was them getting the $1,500 and losing it. Getting the $1,500 and losing it. Getting the $1,500, losing it. I was just like, okay, how many stupid decisions do they have to make? Like, that was just, it pissed me off after like the 4th time they lost their fucking money. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, if SZA had just calmed down, they'd be fine right now. It was just annoying after a while. And like the funny parts were kind of few and far between. Like I laughed out loud at a couple of parts, but not enough to make it like really worthwhile. Like I probably wouldn't rewatch that. And I was really hoping that was gonna be like a classic comedy that I would want to rewatch because I think they're funny. It just wasn't, I don't know. And the main guy, like who played SZA's like boyfriend or like booty call, I fucking hated him. And why did his voice sound like that? I hated his fucking voice. It literally, every time he came on the screen, I was like, ugh. No. Sure, I think it's worth it to go see, but like not that great. I hate to say it. I really hate to say it. And then I saw Presents, which is marketed, pause. Presents was marketed as a horror movie, okay? Horror movies are my favorite. I fucking love horror movies. Let's go into the bottle, period. I really love horror movies. I look forward to new horror movies because I think that now, like, movie making is changing constantly. So, like, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do, like, with new horror movies. Like, how scary can they get? It was not scary at all. It's not a horror movie. Was it cool? And did it make me uncomfortable in a horror sense? Yes. But it was from the POV of the ghost. And the ghost was like there to protect the girl the whole time. So I was like, I'm not scared. What part of me is scared? The way it was marketed was you were gonna be scared of the ghost. And you're not. It follows this family that moves into this new house, okay? Which has a presence. And you're following the presence's eyes the entire time. So the camera the whole time is going like this. Like you were literally following as if you were in someone's eyes, which got kind of annoying. But then like the first 45 to an hour of the movie, you're just following the family's like bullshit drama they're going through. Which, by the way, have never met a mom that wanted to fuck her own son that badly. It was disgusting. And it may have just been bad acting because I didn't know the mother or the son actor. It was so annoying. And like, I get you like your son more than your daughter. That was the whole point, was that she has this connection to her firstborn son. And like low-key just didn't even fucking like her daughter. But she was like so grossly into her son. I'm like, just go suck his dick. I'm so over it. And the son was like so over the top obnoxious. It was like the director told him to be a douche and he said, okay, I got this, and ran with it. It was so gross. The dad was Toby from This Is Us. The only redeeming factor of the movie for me. Literally the only redeeming factor. I loved him. I even almost cried for him one time because I cried for him because he was so upset about like his shitty fucking family and his wife being a piece of shit. I just was so annoyed with how, if it wasn't marketed as a horror movie, it would have been fine. But like it wasn't scary. I will say the end really got me. I was left gagged in the movie theater. Like my mouth open, my jaw was on the floor, how it ended. But like it wasn't worth, like all of it wasn't worth the build up to that, you know? And I was like blatantly uncomfortable in a lot of the scenes. My face in most of the scenes, because it was kind of like following the teenage girl. I guess one of her best friends died. And so she thinks the presence is the best friend. So she like feels the presence and she's trying to tell her family. And her brother's like, fuck off, you fucking cunt. Like the whole movie. I'm like, can you please calm down? She just went through something so tragic and he's so rude for no reason. And then the brother, they had to change schools. So the brother made a friend at this school who is just a raging douchebag. Comes over and tries to fuck the sister. Succeeds, actually. And he's so disgustingly uncomfortable. Oh, I was so uncomfortable in all the scenes. He was so gross. Like, I want y'all to go watch Presents just to feel how gross the movie was. Truly. And then the end, like, yes, it had a plot twist, but like how it ended, I was oh, like it was the best ending it could have had for the movie. Really liked the ending because it just like it really got me. I wasn't expecting how it ended at all. But it just like I said, it doesn't make the movie better because I had to sit through that whole thing just to get to the ending. No. Which brings me to, I'm gonna be late to my movie. I'll do Kingdom of Ash after my movie, actually. Which brings me to, I watched The Wild Robot. That was the one I watched at home because I tried to go see it in theaters and it was closed. 5 out of 5. The best animated movie I have seen in so long. I cried over 10 times. Over 10 times. And I watched it again today. Oh my god. It follows this robot who like washes up on shore on this island. It's kind of giving like Baymax, where her sole duty is to like take care of a task someone gives her. So she's like runs into this little duckling that is hatching from an egg. And so she's like, did that satisfy you? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So she ends up becoming like this little gooseling, his like mother figure, and helps him like her tasks are to like get it to eat, get it to swim, and get it to fly. Those are her tasks that she has to do. So she's with this duck for a goose, I guess, for a long time. Who the goose is, Kit Connor. Love. And then like they also befriend this fox that everyone on the island hates, who is Pedro Pascal. And the robot is Lupita. I don't know how to say her last name. Love her too. So like iconic actors. And then it's just like she becomes this goose's mother. And the whole thing is to build this goose up to take their migration route with all the other gooses, but he's the runt goose. So he like can't fly that well, but she teaches him and helps him how to fly. And it's so upsetting. So upsetting. And like when you think you know like when the story is gonna end, so many things happen in the last 30 minutes. I was sobbing. As soon as I would like get through a scene and stop crying, very next scene, crying again. It was so gut-wrenching and heartbreaking and heartwarming. Oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. So good. That's a movie I would watch all the time, like put on in the background. That being said, I'm gonna go now to go watch another movie. I will come back, give my review on that movie, and then go into my extensive notes on Kingdom of Ash, okay? And y'all will be able to leave when I let you know, okay? So I'll be back. Thank you for listening. See you in a second. Okay, I'm back. It clearly is the next day. I was too tired after the movie to do all this again. I couldn't, especially knowing I had Kingdom of Ash to do. Too tired. And then I started my period in the middle of the night. So that was good. Having a great time. Also, the lighting's gonna be fucked. I don't know what to tell you. But the movie ended up being Companion, that movie about like based off the trailer, you couldn't really tell like what was going on or like if someone was real or not. And it was kind of like about robots. But it was really good. It was better than I was expecting it to be. Like I wanted to see it, but I didn't really know what to expect going into it. But it was really good. I liked it. I was even gagged a couple times. Like the theater collectively gasped like twice. But I would give it like a 4 out of 5. But now I think it's time. I think it is time for the Kingdom of Ash spoilers. So I'm giving you time now. I'm talking about it out loud so everyone has time to go and leave the phone. This is the last thing I'm going to discuss. So if you're leaving now, I love you. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you sometime in the near future. Okay? And also get on your Throne of Glass reading so you can discuss this with me. But anyways, let's go. If you're still here, that means you have read and completed Throne of Glass all the way through Kingdom of Ash. If you are still here and you have not read that, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Because I'm going to talk about all of them. Name dropping, everything. I have, like, this is my notes. All on Kingdom of Ash. So I wanted to make sure I don't leave anything out. Let me start off by saying, in my heart of hearts, I could not give it a 5-star because I feel like if I were to give it a 5-star, it would be kind of like I was bullied into giving it a 5-star because I think it should be, that kind of thing. And it's not a 5-star series for me. Like I look back on the series and I'm like, yeah, it was really good. I would love to reread it. I understand the grasp it has on people, but it just wasn't my favorite thing in the entire world. I have my qualms about it and I'm gonna tell you about it. And this is where the little thing I mentioned a couple videos ago, where this might piss people off, okay? And that's okay. You are allowed to get pissed off at me by my qualms with Kingdom of Ash, because when people have qualms with ACOTAR, I get pissed off, because I don't understand how ACOTAR isn't your favorite thing in the world. So you're allowed to get pissed, and you're allowed to disagree with me, especially in the comments. Go for it. Just add in a little teddy bear if you're like doing it in a nice constructive criticism type of way, okay? Yeah, reiterate that, put a little teddy bear so I know you're not being a meanie bitch to me and that we're just disagreeing. That's fine. All right, starting out. We started out the book with my least favorite person and my least favorite point of view. So I was not expecting to start this book out with 25 pages of war talk and war strategies from my least favorite person. That like set the tone for the whole book. I was just like, And then it's like every time we went back to Adian's point of view, which I forgot I can say names now. Adian's my least favorite character in the whole book. You do not, did that happen in this book? Where he treated Lysandra like shit? Also, another thing, I'm gonna say the names how I wanna say them. Forewarning, I say Cole. You will not hear Kale out of my mouth from this time on, okay? So deal with it. But it just like set the tone for like not wanting to keep going. That was my main issue, was starting out with Adian. Like I understand, don't yell at me about this. I understand we're in a war, so war talk is going to happen. It just felt very excessive. Like there was a lot of war talk in this book. A lot. And like in ACOTAR, there was a war going on, and I didn't feel like the strategy talk and the war talk was overwhelming. This kind of felt overwhelming to me. Also, why did Adian go? We went like 900 pages of this 1,000-page book where no one wanted to go help Adian and Lysandra. Like, why were they alone the entire book? I was just shocked by that. Like, Aelin was just constantly like, I don't know if they like didn't know where he was or if they didn't, I don't know. I was kind of confused on that, like why no one went to help him until the very end. I'd be pissed if I was Adian. I'd be like, y'all spent that whole book doing the bullshit y'all were doing, and I was alone defending this shit by myself with my little itty bitty teeny army. And Lysandra? Lorcan and Elite I like. At the end of Empire Storms, I was kind of annoyed with Lorcan because of the blood bond. I guess I didn't really realize like the strength of the blood bond, that you dead ass cannot break it. Like that, I think after watching what Fenris went through, I was like, oh, okay, so it's not really on Lorcan. Like, I don't know why I thought it was just like this really special bond you had with someone. I didn't realize it was like, no, you cannot disregard what they said or you'll die. So it like makes a little bit more sense how Lorcan act at the end of Empire Storms when he like let her fucking get away. So like he grew on me a little bit. He still annoyed me. Like I still think he was a little bitch, but I did like Lorcan and Elid's story, and like Elid going to go get him. I was crying. There were a few times I cried in this book, shockingly, and Elid and Lorcan were one of them. Okay, yeah, my next note was how Lysandra forgave Adian. He's mad at her because of something Aelin made her do. Okay, Aelin is the queen. Adian would listen to Aelin too. Also, the whole Aelin-Adian thing, it's gonna sound like a lot of repetition in my mouth. But he is so pissed at Lysandra to where he threw her out. I think she was naked. Did he throw her naked body out of his tent or whatever that scene was? And like called her all these names, and she forgave him because they're in a war. She forgave him. Fuck Adian. Absolutely fuck Adian. I'm standing on that. He's the worst character in this entire series. I cannot fucking stand him. And his boohoo crying about his father. Yeah, you did lose out on time with your father because you were being a bitch. Are we fucking for real? And I love Gabriel. And he gave up his fucking life for Adian, who is still to the end a bitch. No. Like, if there was not a war going on, Lysandra would never have forgiven him. Lysandra does not, she stands on business. She would not have taken him back. We do not forget the things the men said to us. And she just was like, oh, it's okay. I love you. I love you, sweet honey bunches. No. I don't care how many times he apologized. He showed his true self right there. Showed his true self, and we're not forgetting it. So, like, from then on, I just, like, did not like their story. I didn't like them together. I was pissed. It just didn't feel genuine. Oof. My next note is about Rowan. Oof. Oh, okay. So with Rowan, I still didn't feel the desperation to get Aelin back, you know? I don't know what was missing. I just didn't feel the desperation. It's like when he said it, I was just like, I don't really believe it. Like, I don't know why. I think that's on me. Like, there's something wrong in me that I didn't believe it. And then also, okay, this is where I fucked up because I had the reunion scene where they get her back from Maeve, you know. I had that scene in my head of how I wanted them to reunite, and it obviously did not happen the way I wanted it to happen, so then I was let down. So thinking back now of her like running through this camp, her yelling to Lorcan, that like looking back now makes me emotional. Like her yelling to me makes me emotional. And at the time I wanted it to be Rowan, and like I wanted this big reunion where they're sobbing in each other's arms, and like that just isn't realistic. That's not what happened. So like this one's more realistic because not only when they reunited, they had to keep going to get to safe ground. So it's like they couldn't even enjoy the reunion because they were in the middle of danger. Like they had to just let it go and keep going. And then she had the thing on her head. So it's like they couldn't even embrace each other. They couldn't even like be thankful because she's sitting there having a panic attack saying get it off, and they can't fucking get it off. So it's like at the time I was annoyed because it's not what I wanted. I wanted this really big emotional scene. Similar to the scene of like Cole and Dorian, their reunion got me. That reunion, loved, I cried like a baby. So like I wanted a good reunion with Rowan and Aelin, and it just like solidified my I don't feel the love. Sorry. Like, I need Rowan to drop to his fucking knees when he sees her. And he just doesn't. Like, he doesn't. I think he would burn the world down for her, but I need him on his hands and knees crawling to her. Okay? I will say him, like, keeping calm and trying to calm her down when the anxiety attack was happening, the panic attack was happening because of the cage. I think that was cute, but you know, oh well. And this is the part when Aelin starts to piss me off. Her beginning chapters I liked when she was being held hostage and she was just having to stay strong and like let it happen, and just like everything with Fenris really liked, okay? I love it. But her age is starting to show, and that's what I don't like, because when she starts acting 19, it kind of takes me out a little bit. I'm like, oh, she's just a baby. She's just a baby. Which like a part of me feels shitty saying that because of all the shit she's gone through. Like she's gone through so much stuff. So much shit that like it's unreal. Also, I'm pretty sure this entire series takes place in 1 year, so that's even crazier that all of this has happened in 1 year to her. But like I don't really know how to explain it, but also the like fight scenes kind of started to feel a little repetitive to me in almost every book. I hate to say that, but like there's so many books and so many fight scenes in each book. I feel like they're gonna start to feel repetitive. Like they all started with, we are in this terrible, terrible danger. We're gonna die because we're so outnumbered. Okay, that's pretty much how they all set up. And then they're fighting. They are somehow holding their own. This army is holding their own against Erewhon's army or whatever it is they're battling that day. And then Aelin's like digging deep into her body, deeper than she's ever dug before, deeper than the last time. And then she erupts and she can't stop and she's gonna burn out, but then she stops and then everything's fine. It's like, I feel like that happened many times, and I'm like, okay, how many times are we gonna dig deep and blow up to save the world? Like, I was kind of over it. So I'm glad that's not how the last one happened, because that's what I was expecting. And I was like, okay, she's just gonna dig even deeper somehow and blow up. Like the very first time that happened, I thought it was like one of the coolest things ever. But then after like the fourth time she does it, it kind of takes like the high stakeness out of it, if that makes sense. Like, you're gonna tell me how dangerous this is and how easily she could die from this, but then she just gets out of it. So I'm like, okay, it can't be that dangerous. Also, if she has the ability to do that, okay, and Dorian has this raw power, which I still don't really know what that means. Does that make him more powerful than Aelin, that he just has all this fucking raw power that we don't know what to do with? How do they lose any war? Can he not just do that too and like blow up the fucking world to smithereens wherever Erewhon is? Like, I'm confused how they lose anything with Aelin and Dorian and their power. You know? It feels like we didn't use Dorian to his max capacity, if that makes sense. Okay, Dorian and Manon, my favorite fucking characters and the only ones I felt a connection towards and wanted the best for. They were the only ones that I like felt the chemistry and the desperation. Like, she was trying so hard to stay that like hard iron teeth witch, like I have no feelings, and you could tell she was feeling it for Dorian. Like she was feeling it hard for that princeling, and she was like trying to convince herself not to, and I just loved it. I ate it up. Like, you could tell the desperation in her, and you could tell the desperation in him. He was taken over by a fucking vow. These are my favorite TikToks that I see. He was literally possessed by a demon and somehow fought that demon off to flirt with her. Oh my god, it was so funny. It was so funny. The line of, I'll bleed whatever color you want me to. Like, he was fully possessed when that happened. He said, demon, hold on. There's a hot girl out here, let me talk to her real quick. And I just was kicking my feet. Anytime they were together, I was instantly sucked in. I cared about the story and like 10 times more than any other scene. I loved them so much. Like, they're 100% my favorite. And I wanted a more of an ending with them. That's how I was disappointed in that, but Okay. This goes back to us not using Dorian's abilities. So he can now shapeshift. Why? When he went to wherever the fuck it was, where he was becoming like a gnat and a fly, and he was trying to trick Maeve into learning about Erewhon, all that shit. When he was there, why couldn't he have just like shapeshifted into the gnat, into his bedroom? Since his magic can hold people up with invisible hands and like choke them, why couldn't he have just like done that in the middle of the night? Be a little gnat or a cockroach, go into his room with a knife and kill him. Like and shapeshift back and kill him. Like I don't understand. And then turn back into a gnat and leave. A gnat? He can literally turn into a gnat. I just feel like we didn't really use his power to the best of its abilities. And I'd be like, we should have. Like, that's crazy. He's like the biggest, baddest bitch around, and we like barely used him. I have to keep checking because if my phone dies, I'm gonna off myself. Oh, I just realized I'm also wearing my Throne of Glass shirt. Perfect. Also, my notes are just based on whoever's POV was in the next chapter. So next was no complaints on Manon. I love her chapters, obviously. Okay, Cole, I didn't really have any complaints about. Other than like him and his chapters with Irene were kind of like short and boring. Like I wanted more. I spent this whole book, Tower of Dawn, caring for them and loving him and like reconnecting with him as a character to like not really get anything from them in Kingdom of Ash. I was like upset that we didn't get more of them. Like I loved them and I loved their story, and her finding out she's pregnant, I gasped so hard. Can I say gaps? I gasped so hard, and like I was so happy for them, and then we just like never really dove deeper into them at all. And then she saves the fucking world. I'm like, well, okay, we talk about come back from out of nowhere. Like, can we at least dive into them the whole book? We spent so much time on other ones. Let's dive into Cole and Irene. Okay, and Nezrin and Sartak, which this one says Satrap. Nezrin and Satrap. Again, not much to say because I feel like we weren't really given much. And they were just like never really that big of a deal to me anyway, and I never really cared. So, oof. Okay, another complaint. There were too many places. I hate to say it, there were too many places for me to keep up with. I feel like I'm pretty good at keeping up with the places. I was fully comprehending like all of the different places and what they mean to everyone, but I feel like we just threw in too many places at the end. But what got me was there was so many places where Erewhon's army was, so I couldn't keep track of like what was bad and what was good. Like there was Morath was apparently this big bad place that had all of Erewhon's army, or so I thought, but then they started talking about Orinth being this big bad place. Like was Morath in Orinth, or like the other way around, or was it just another place where half of his fucking army was? But then at the same time, wherever the fuck Adian and Lysandra were too, I don't even remember. Like they were somewhere where all of his fucking army was. So I'm just like, what are the good and bad places? I'm so confused. Like wherever Dorian went, obviously that was bad, that's where everyone was. But then why was all of his army was in 400 different places? And then like I didn't even know if Terrasen, like I know obviously Terrasen is like home. Was it bad at one point? Was it filled with the bad? Like I literally never knew. I was just so confused on how his army was that big and in 100 different places, and I could not keep up with who was who. Okay, God, the ghost plot where we talk to Brennan and Elena. Brennan is not this series. Where we talk to Brannon and Elena, and the mirrors with the witches and shit and how they all go together, and like why Aelin or Dorian has to die. Don't get it. The whole story with the ghosts just like never really got it. I wanted to understand it. I never really got it. It just like it felt like a lot. And if we're dying because of literal ghosts, it was coming off as Aelin feels bad for these ghosts, so she's sacrificing herself. Like I never really understood it, and it kind of pissed me off. So like anytime we were talking to a ghost, I was kind of over it. I'm like, y'all are dead. Why do we care? Why do we care at all? I was so this is where Aelin's like age pissed me off. I was so tired of her playing the fucking victim. She has to be the one to die or suffer. Even though she's supposed to be queen and she has all these people counting on her, she's like, no, I'm gonna be the one that dies, or I'm gonna be the one that gets captured and suffers because I don't want it to be anyone else. Like the whole her and Dorian trying to like do half their power instead of all of Aelin's power to the ghost or whatever the fuck it was. She was like refusing to let Dorian do it. Just why not try? I even like Dorian more than Aelin. And why are we not letting him try? She's like tricking him and it says, bye, I'm gonna do it myself. I don't get why she has to play the victim, okay? Let someone else, you've gone through enough. Let someone else take the fucking turn to be killed. But anyways, I didn't really get the whole dad coming back and saving them thing. Like saving her and Dorian. Like, why is a dead man's magic working? And can we get a dead person to take Aylin's place? Like, why was Dorian's dad able to take his spot? I didn't get that at all. I was just like, okay, I guess, you know, like whatever the fuck we need to do. Oh, this was where I had enough of Aylin. When she said leave Erewhon and let Elena stay, I had to stop reading. I'm not kidding. I was so pissed. I was like, what the fuck do you mean let Erewhon stay? She goes, well, they said they could handle Erewhon, so just let Erewhon stay so that Elena can stay because she deserves it. That bitch is dead. I was so pissed. I was like, what are we doing? Why did you just offer to let Erewhon stay? If I was Rowan, Cole, Irene, I'm pissed. I'm like, you did what? Over that fucking dead bitch? I'm just so confused. Obviously, it ended up saving her. It was the reason that she got to go back, I guess, but she didn't fucking know that. And I was just so pissed. I was like, what are we doing? Literally, what are we doing? Oh my god. Okay, at that point, she thought she was still gonna die. So it's like, why did we do all of this? The whole point was you going to die, but at least you can take Erewhon with you. So what was the point of her dying if she said leave Erewhon? That made no sense to me whatsoever. Like, she's lucky that she got to come out of it. She's fucking lucky. I mean, I only have 2 more left. Oh, and one of them was like, I guess it turned out fine because she wouldn't have lived without Mala giving her more power just because she was willing to help Elena, but still, like, it just pissed me off. My favorite is, okay, there are notes I didn't even talk about. The 13. Oh my god, that was my favorite scene in the entire book, was the 13 giving their lives. I'm not kidding. And then Manon going down, the fan art of Manon screaming when the 13 dies. I was sobbing like a baby when that whole time with the 13 and like her going down and oh my god, no, I'm gonna get emotional thinking about it. Her being in like the wastelands with Abraxos and Abraxos lost his mate. Oh my god. It was one of their dragons. It was one of their wyverns was Abraxos' mate. And so he also lost his mate. And so it's just Manon and Abraxos like in the wasteland that blew up. And all the people bringing flowers. And they were like, oh my god. When they blew up, it was light that erupted and not darkness. Oh my god, the flower blooming. Oh my god. The 13, the witches were really just my favorite part. Like, I wish we had a whole story just on the witches and with Manon and Dorian. Like, that was so good. And then anything with Manon afterwards, like anytime she saw Dorian, I just was a mess. I was a mess. I'm so like sad for her. So sad for her. I'm so glad that she got the witches back together, like all of the witches, but I'm so deeply sad for her. And it was a sadness that I didn't feel the entire book. Like anything with Aylin, never felt the sadness that I felt toward Manon. But that being said, my favorite like take on the characters is that Dorian and Cole are gay as fuck. They're 100% bisexual, both of them. Like, you cannot tell me that they are in love with each other. Their reunion, like, I just wanted them to kiss so badly. I wanted them to just do one little kiss, like just one. I'm sure Irene would have been fine with it. Irene probably would have welcomed it, okay? Let's be real. Manon? That bitch is so gay. I knew it from the front. Like, I wanted Aylin and Manon to be together until Aylin pissed me off. But you mean to tell me 13 witches, 13, who have been together for hundreds of years, the most like beautiful witches in the world too, gay. That's the gayest thing I've ever heard. Like, they're so gay. So that's, I think, why the whole Dorian Manon story makes so much sense to me, because they're both gay. They're both closeted gays, and I love them more than life itself. I love them. If I could go through all of Throne of Glass and only read chapters that involve them, I'd be happy. I'd be completely happy and content. But I like not knowing whether Dorian is, I almost said unlimited, not knowing if Dorian is gonna live forever. What is that word? I can't think of the word. It's too early. But like seeing fan art of like Manon kissing like Dorian's face when he's like dead, he's like really old, obviously, if he does die. Oh, I just can't handle that. I love Manon so much. And I wanted a more definitive answer if they were gonna be together. Like, clearly the whole like she's got shit to take care of and it's only a couple hours or a day's ride to get to Dorian. But I wanted to see it. But that's all my notes. I can't really think of much else. I feel like I touched on everyone. I wanted more Cole and Noreen. I think the whole scenes like with Evangeline was cute, but like again, it was connected to Lysandra, which was connected to Adiant, so I didn't like really care that much. Overall, when I finished, I was like, okay, I mean, it's like a 4.5. But when I go back and look at like all the fan art of the quotes and like the specific scenes throughout the whole series, I'm like, it feels like it should be a 5-star because of those scenes, but I don't know. It just like isn't, I don't know. Like, yes, I love it. Yes, I love it. Okay, let's calm down. I love Throne of Glass. I love Kingdom of Ash. It just doesn't, like, there are days where I like haven't really thought about it, and there are still days now I like still every single day will think about ACOTAR, so. But I do love the fact that I get to go look at fan art, because seeing other people's love for it kind of like sways my love a little bit. The same way it does when people talk shit on a book and it sways my opinion. It's doing the same thing in the opposite effect, which is good. But I realized I never even picked it up a single fucking time. But here she is. I have the old cover. Cry about it. I found it for $5 at Books A Million. But like I was expecting way more tabs in this, and like there just weren't that many. Like I just didn't, I don't know. But I want to say like favorite moments from the series as a whole, starting like all the way from the beginning, or like biggest moments for me. So Sam's death destroyed me in a way I was not ready for. I read Assassin's Blade first and that absolutely destroyed me. And I loved Aelin as Selena. I loved that bitch as an assassin. So like that whole story, loved. I definitely think I'll reread Assassin's Blade at some point because I loved that story. The scene where, I don't even remember like all the details, but with the theater, back in like Throne of Glass or Crown of Midnight, one of those two. The like actors or performers on stage all came out in the morning black because people were killed. I think in Dovier. I think that's what it was. But like when they took a stand and then were all murdered for it, that was insane. And like really, I was like getting super choked up when I read that scene. I regret that I'd never made a connection to Sorsha because I didn't realize how big of a role she was gonna play in Dorian's life. So like in my head, I thought she was gonna stab him in the back, so I never made a connection. So I regret that because he obviously never forgot about Sorsha. And I feel like I would have cried really hard if I had let myself get attached to her. Air of Fire is still one of my favorites. I really like that book a lot. Oh, when Manon killed her grandmother, or she didn't kill her, but when she sliced her, that scene to this day still shocked the fuck out of me. I think like the most out of all of the books, that really got me. Now I'm gonna struggle to remember because I feel like the series, it literally took me a year to finish the series. I don't know. I think those are my biggest ones. But like I miss Assassin Aelin, and I feel like not a lot of people think that. Like I liked her better as an assassin than I did as Queen Aelin. So anyways, that's my Kingdom of Ash rant. Feel free to disagree, feel free to agree. Feel free to agree with me on some of these things so I feel better about myself. Now I can go back to my ACOTAR reread. So thanks so much for watching. I know this was a long one. If you made it all the way to the end, I love you. Thank you so much again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to go check them out at the link in the description below and go get some Valentine's Day stuff for yourself because we don't like men around here. And I'll see you in the next one.